Hello and welcome to Knock Off the Perch, a Manchester United podcast where we talk everything Manchester United. Great game yesterday for Manchester United. Finally, a win for Manchester United this season. We've had three games in the league, one game in the Carabao Cup, and now we head into the international break. Good time to reflect back how the start of the season has been. And we will talk about how the team is shaping up, how the new signings have been, and what are your expectations going forward. Welcome, Dheeraj. How are you feeling about this Manchester United squad going forward?
How am I feeling? This is proper mid-table stuff, isn't it? I mean, if you saw our game against Arsenal, you would have said, okay, this team is going places despite the loss. But if you see the results overall, this is proper mid-table stuff. Like we've drawn one, we've lost one, we have won one's game. And
Yeah,
how did we win that game is also how did we not win that game in first half and how did we eventually ended up winning that game? This is like
yeah.
proper mid-table stuff. Some errors which are like which have been plaguing us from the last season we've been seeing. Isn't doesn't feel great to be out of Carabao Cup, but I guess on that day Grimsby Town deserved it more than us.
Yeah,
I'm
and
fairly okay with it.
yeah, so I think the Fulham game has definitely been one game where we looked out of sort. I think 30 minutes of the Fulham game and the entire first half against Grimsby. I think this team definitely was off the pace of what needed to be. And especially on that Grimsby, I was reading accounts of a few fans who were there. They were telling that the United team were a little maybe in a state of shock looking at the ground conditions, looking at how the stadium is, etc. That is no reason for the squad to perform how they ended up performing. They probably thought it's going to be a walkover. They probably thought that they can walk over this fourth league Grimsby team, but I think that game was a great reminder that if you actually put your heart and soul in playing the game, you can achieve much more than the abilities of the squad put together, etc. And
Just to
yeah,
give our listeners a perspective, the Grimsby team has been built with a amount of £5 million.
yeah.
£5 million. That's less than the wages of our top earning players.
Yeah, that's probably how much these guys spend on their barbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes on to show that you really need to play with a lot of heart. You need to really honor the badge when you're playing, and I think that was completely missing, especially in that first half against Grimsby. Second half, we saw a little bit of effort from the team. We got those two goals back, and then penalties, anyways, are a little bit of a toss up in terms of how it will end up. And we had Onana and goals, so our expectations were anyways low. And I think that brings me to the first broad topic that we wanted to cover today is goalkeeping situation broadly. I think it's a big talking point in terms of how we have shaped up in the first few games. It has looked like we are good going forward at times, but we've conceded from the smallest chances possible. Even yesterday, Burnley had what, six shots, and there's three shots on target. We conceded twice from those three shots. So yeah, it's not we are not saving a lot of chances, and I think that is a big challenge. What do you make of this? Buying the new number one for the time being, Onana is the new number two. What do you make of it?
I think there's a lack of belief in both of the current keepers. Whatever Amorim says in the press conferences doesn't give me any confidence on either of the keepers. Both have ended up making errors in the starting of the season. Even in the Grimsby Town match, in the penalties, I think Onana touched five of their penalties out of 12. Which, if you think about it, like if five of the penalties were touched, you'd think that team is easily winning the penalty shootout. But four of those penalties still ended up going in. So
Yeah,
there is a lack of belief. Goalkeeping, we did discuss before that maybe was the least important, least priority position to replace. Right now, it's feeling like we could do well with the number one established goalkeeper. How I wish Eric Ten Hag didn't mess up the De Gea situation. We had a ready-made goalkeeper. He didn't come without his mistakes, but he didn't make rookie mistakes like these, because these two have been found out doing
Yeah.
rookie mistakes.
Yeah, the problem is that just the you spoke about the word belief. It just feels very nervy, very difficult to sort of take in those situations as soon as the opposition comes into the final third out in our box. So, which is what this team is not, or at least this defense in form of goalkeepers are not inspiring any confidence that they'll be able to stop the chances. They will be able to make some big saves. So we are used to, even in the last few years when the club hasn't been doing well, we have been used to David De Gea saving a lot of point 0.6 0.7 xg chances, right? But we're just conceding chances left, right and center and conceding goals out of those. So yeah, I think we need a new number one, that is for sure.
Really, we do. And you talked about how we didn't control the game in against Grimsby Town in the first half, how against Fulham we lost control. To me, we could think about the problem statement in two ways. Is it that we lose control of games a couple of times, or is it that we dominate the game in pockets? And the fact that when we are not dominating the game, are we good enough off the ball? Can we control the pace of the game? These are the most important questions that come to my mind. Right now, we don't look like doing that. Again, we've been spoiled in our childhoods by watching players like Paul Scholes, like
Yeah.
Michael Carrick. These were the players who controlled the flow of the game. Even when we weren't playing especially great, we felt in control.
Yeah.
We weren't creating chances every second minute, every third minute, but the state of the game always felt in control of us.
Yeah, I
But
think that has.
that's
No, I was just saying that it has also got a lot to do with the fact that we are not progressing the ball through the midfield much, right?
hmm,
You tend to sort of be in control of games when your defense is building it, passing on to the midfield. The midfield is sort of then building it forward, trying to find those sideways passes at times, trying to find those forward passes at times. We are playing pretty much full throttle, where either Shaw or Euro from that left centre back or right centre back spot, or Casemiro or Bruno are trying to find Ahmad or Mbuemo on that right sided wing, or sometimes, on the left, if the left wing back in Dorgu or Dallo or Cunha has dropped into those spaces, are playing in that position. Even yesterday, there were a couple of chances when Binder tried to directly play the ball, and Zugzi, being a tall
yeah,
sort of a person, target person up front, he was able to sort of bring those balls down and then find either players on the left or right wing. So I think that sort of sums up as to how we are looking to play. And in that, you will end up making mistakes whenever you're making these long passes. The chances of them being accurate, the chances of us being able to take the ball forward from there or carrying forward reduces, because you're not in control of the ball, and which is what opposition can sort of exploit. Now, the good thing about that is that both in the game against Arsenal and in the games against Burnley, we were able to show that if we can do that consistently enough, we will create a lot of chances. But yeah, at times we will have to face opposition like Fulham, who are very physical themselves, who are able to counter Manchester United on these long balls and then find those spaces in the midfield. And as infamously Marco Silva, Iwobi talked about the fact that they knew United will leave those spaces behind, and their
hmm.
midfield was occupying those spaces. So that is where we allow a lot of chances to opposition. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, I think, at this point in time.
Speaking personnel wise, we've seen Bruno play all the matches in that number six, number eight position. I've seen him create a lot, still create a lot from the deep position, which is encouraging, I guess. He's still pinging those long balls. He's still controlling the game state a lot. His combination with Casemiro has also, if it has not burned the world alight, it hasn't been bad. That being said, we still feel there's a lack of one player who could sort of do it all, pick the ball up from the defense, parry it towards the third, playing third as well. And we might have that player in Baleba, but let's talk about the larger issue here. You talked about how we've been progressing the ball well. I talked about, how Bruno and Casemiro, who have played the most minutes this season together, might be the problem because of lack of mobility from Casemiro. Which one do you think it is? Is it a personal mismatch, or is it a system issue?
So On that specifically, if I talk about Casemiro and how he's being used by Amorim, I think he's being very careful in utilizing Casemiro. He's realized that Casemiro can't do those forward run, come back and defend all the time. So he's carefully sitting in front of the back three and he's playing that protector sort of a role. And I think Amorim has realized he cannot do it for more than 60, 70 minutes. So you see those substitutions coming in somewhere around the 60th, 70th minute. Now, it's obviously, I think, a little bit of a personnel based system where we don't have somebody who can intercept the ball, who is that destroyer that Amorim had in the sporting system, and then carry the ball forward to find our players in the final third. Which is why what is happening is Bruno has to do a lot of heavy lifting for that entire carrying the ball forward role, and because he can't single handedly do it, he's pinging those long diagonal balls from inside United's own half to Embuemo, Ahmad, or sort of trying to find those long passes in. And I think it's Amurim trying to work out best what we can with the personnel that we have. So it's a mix of personnel and system issue, I would say.
That being said, I'm not completely opposed to the system as long as it is leading to the chances that we've been creating. I think we are somehow second in the league on shots as well as entries into the box. These two stats we have been fairly consistent in the first three games. Long may that continue. That being said, if comes an opportunity to buy a midfielder on the deadline day tomorrow, would you like us to make a last ditch bid to Baleba or Højlund from Sporting?
Firstly, I don't know if Baleba is really in the market. I think Brighton are difficult buyers. They make it very difficult. They want a certain price, and I don't think because this season they don't have a replacement ready for him, they would sell him so easy. And which is why I'm not too optimistic about that happening. That said, we have raised a few funds. We have done the Garnacho deal. We have done the loan plus mandatory option with a few clauses for Napoli, for Rasmus Højlund, and the Anthony deal could also most likely happen. I think there were a few sources who said that 25 million plus a 50% sell-on clause is being agreed, but I think it's still being worked out. So we might have the funds to make that one last-ditch effort for a top midfielder. But I don't know if we have somebody ready who will completely come and transform this squad. That said, I feel we should make that one signing because come to think of it, right now, for the so-called number six spot, we have the only options that we have are Casemiro and Ugarte. And if something were to, one of those players gets suspended or injured or something, then you are completely short of options there. You have
Menu can
let go
also
of
do a number there.
who? Yeah, so I was looking at Menu and Bruno as those number eight sort of spots where sometimes Mount can also come in. So essentially, you have those four players for two spots, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
if some and playing Menu and Bruno together from the beginning of the game, it's slightly tricky because I don't think it offers a lot of control. Even yesterday, I think when Mount went off and Menu came on, although we could see the industrious effort from Menu, I think we lost the control a little bit in between. And just a shout out to Mount there, by the way, I think he gets a lot of flack because he's not getting those assists or goals. And a lot of people sort of just look at the stats, look at the highlights, and be like, what is Mount doing? He's not doing anything for the team, etc. But what he's able to offer off the ball, I think it's very, very strong what he's able to offer in the press. And I think he's been able to create a couple of decent chances as well. So I think I just feel there's a little bit of lack of depth as well there. So even if we are not able to find like that gem who will, come as our first 11
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
completely transform the team that we believe Baleba might, I think we should still go for at least maybe a short term option who can come and provide different solutions for different scenarios. So I think and from what I'm reading, there's probably some deal that could happen on the transfer deadline day and we make at least one addition there.
So between goalkeeper and midfielder, you would say that we should prioritize a midfielder, is it?
Goalkeeper. No, I think no doubt about the fact that we have to, given the evidence of what we have seen in the last few games, we just look very uncomfortable from set piece situations, from free kicks, from long throw ins, whatever. And which is where I think we need that solidity. At this point in time, I don't care about us building from the back and all of that. I don't think we need the goalkeeper to get involved in that evolved level of playing Pep Guardiola style of playing, where the goalkeeper is the 11th outfield personnel and all of that. I don't think we need any of that. We just need a proper shot stopper who inspires confidence in our defense, so that we are not nervous when we are in all of these situations. So goalkeeper and probably a loan deal or a relatively lower priced midfielder coming in is what could be great or practically feasible solution in the last day of the transfer window.
Let's see. Let's see. We have 24 hours for the transfer window to close. Let's see what United has a habit of surprising us on deadline day deals. Some
Yeah,
of them do work out actually. So
yeah.
yeah, let's see. Let's see in the last 24 hours how it pans out. Which brings us to the question: how are the current signings that we have made actually? The three we made four signings, but Diego Leon has we haven't seen a
Yeah,
lot of him this season. We only saw him during the pre-season. Bumo,
yeah,
Cunha, and Sesko. We have seen them play in 3 games or more, and
yeah.
they do look like a unit. Talking individually, who has impressed you the most? Would it be Bumo, Cunha, or Sesko?
Without a doubt, Brian Mbeumo for me. Big Brian, I think he is going to be a star in this Manchester United team. You can just see and observe his movements and realize that he has been in this world of Premier League. He knows how
Hmm.
it works. He has, I think, the right amount of physicality to deal. He has the right amount of pace. I think he has had a lot of sprints for this team as well. So, and he looks like he has a goal in him. Even the game against Arsenal, we felt he could have finished. Against Fulham, we felt okay. Cunha had more chances in that game, not Brian Mbeumo so much. But then against Grimsby, he came on, did a neat finish, had a neat finish in him. Unfortunately, missed his second penalty after converting the first in the penalty shootout. And then yesterday again, he was brilliant. Whether it was that long ball that he also that first touch is so silky, so smooth. It's amazing. I mean, he's able to just drop dead the ball when he takes it, even from a long pass. And he took a couple of shots right from the edge of the box, which didn't go in or were saved. And then finally, from that Dallo assist, he was able to convert. Again, the movement of the ball to be able to come in a bit of a free space there, I think that talks Premier League experience to me. So I think he was able to do that. I think he is going to at least score 15 goals for Manchester United this season, probably more. He has already scored two. I see him as a very very bright star for this team. What about you? Who's
Definite,
been your favorite?
de- Definitely an upgrade to the players who were playing in those positions. Like
Yeah,
even I'd even go as far as to say he's an upgrade on Ahmad as well. Ahmad, as direct as he was in that position, and as much as he got into the box, the end product sometimes wasn't there. Even though he was one of our most improved prospects
yeah,
last season, so definitely an upgrade on that. I have been impressed by both Bumo and Cunha. Yes,
yeah,
Bumo has been the better player in the last 3 days. I still feel the potential on Cunha is crazy because we saw it in the Fulham game, we saw it in Arsenal game as well. He just takes on player for fun. Right? He
yeah,
embodies the Joga Bonito, and like I
yeah,
love to see a Brazilian in his prime taking on players, trying to shoot from outside the box. That is just so much remnant of the Barclays men. Like he is that Barclays men kind of player, Cunha. So I do expect him to score a lot of
yeah,
banger goals. Even yesterday, he was trying a lot from
yeah.
outside the
Outside the
box.
box.
He hasn't been able to convert yet, but that doesn't bother me because he has hit the post once. He has
Yeah,
gone close. He's creating a lot. He's doing a lot of work and that he was expected to do in Wolves. In Wolves, he was
hmm.
one of the more frontmen, and the versatility on him also makes me like him more. He could play the number 10. He could play it, at the striking position as well, and he tracks back. I
Yeah,
didn't expect him to do that, but I've seen him a couple of times losing the ball and tracking back like
yeah.
80 yards behind to gather the ball. So yeah, very impressed by both Cunha and Mbumo.
I think what back in the day we used to call as X factor. Cunha has that X factor in him. He's
Definitely.
definitely one of those players. who attracts the ball, who the team members, fellow players, will easily be like, okay, let's put the ball to him. He will carry it forward. He will do some magic, and he will get us into spaces where other players may not be able to do so. So I think that combination of a very intelligent player in the box in Bumo and Cunha can work wonders for us. Yes, you were saying.
My question to you would be: is Cunha an upgrade on Garnacho and Rashford?
I would definitely say so. Well, let me be a little more practical and say Konya has to do it for like 10, 15, 20 games in a row to be able to say that. But whatever little we have seen of Kunya, and unfortunately he got that injury, and hopefully that is nothing big going forward. But there is no doubt about the fact that Rashford and Garnacho have a flash of brilliance in them. They will create those moments of magic at times. But more often than not, in case of Rashford, we were left frustrated with his effort on the pitch. In case of Garnacho, we were left frustrated with his in-game match intelligence, on-ball match intelligence, what actions to do in the final third, that was lacking for him. But Cunha sort of is an upgrade on all of that. He may not have the best finish in him from inside the box, or he may not always be able to finish some of the chances that he is on, but he will, at least from what I've seen so far, he will put in that 100% effort. He will track back most of the times. He will make those intelligent passes in and outside, in and around the box, which Garnacho was not able to do. So just on evidence of all of that, I think Cunha is a definite upgrade, and he has to show us that 15, 20 games, majority of the season he has to do that. Anybody can have an off game or two, but if he's able to consistently show us that, which I believe he will, he is definitely an upgrade over the two.
20 goal involvements from both of Bumo and Cunha is what I'm foreseeing based on the
Yeah,
evidence that we have seen in the first three games, which brings us to the curious case of Benjamin Sesko. We've seen him play a full game now for Grimsby. We've seen him against Fulham. We've seen flashes of him in the Arsenal game as well. And all the games, some involvement. But
yeah.
have we seen sparks or enough evidence that he could be the number nine that United need? Hoyland took a long time to score his first Premier League goal.
Yeah.
Will Sesko be a similar case?
So with Sesko, the challenge has been that he has not had a proper preseason. He didn't play 90 minutes for Leipzig either in the preseason. And he's come into a system where Amorim is trying for this team to become a lot more physical, a lot more industrious, a team and players that, continue with the sense of energy and sense of pushing on during the game, and that takes a lot of energy. I don't think Sheshko is particularly ready to do that over a span of 90 minutes at this point in time, which is where Amorim has been a little careful in the minutes that he offers to Sheshko. And if I start considering it, it feels that this team is still not ready to play with that proper striker, proper number nine, feed the ball to the number nine, because even with Sheshko on the pitch, the kind of chances that we have been creating have been coming from the likes of Ahmad, Embuemo, or Dorgu or Dallo, who have been playing on the left wing. So the majority of the chances have been coming for there, and it's not utilizing the presence of that number nine a lot, where either them as the target man or them as the hold up player who will create chances for others. So I think the more Sheshko plays in this squad, the more we will see the team evolving for him. But I would just like to call out, in the game against Burnley yesterday, we started seeing flashes of what this
Yes.
team can, what Sheshko can offer this team.
Yeah.
And you saw Buemo playing that cross from the right, Sheshko probably hanging in the air for a second or two and taking that header on. And immediately later, I think a ball came in from left. I don't know who did that pass. A ball came in from left and he again took a header. So you see that the team might start playing to his strength when he is on the pitch. So I think too early to say if Sheshko will take a lot of time, he will not take a lot of time. Also, he is young. I don't expect him to set the Premier League alight. He will take time to settle in, but I am fairly confident that in the longer run he should do well as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's all about the first goal. When as soon as it comes in, the more confident Shesko is something we'll see. We've heard anecdotes from his coaches in his junior teams that there was a time
Yeah,
when he couldn't score for 7 8 games, and then eventually he worked on his little thing off the ball runs, and we've been hearing that he's been getting lessons from none other than Dimitar Berbatov and at Carrington. So
yeah,
against Burnley, we did see signs from him that he
yeah,
might be the striker that we need. We saw that movement from him. We saw that brilliant aerial presence in him, which we haven't seen for a quite a long time. I think the
yeah.
last time we saw anything like that was from Ibrahimovic, maybe.
Zlatan, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, brilliant to see. Very
Even
excited
against
about Sheshko.
Grimsby, yeah, even against Grimsby, I thought that there were a couple of places where you could see that striker itch in him, where he would not want to make, probably, if a pass was available or a shot was available, he'll probably go for the shot. And you could see he wanted to get off the mark. He wanted to see that he wants to, get that first goal off his back and then sort of move on from there. And that was probably his best chance, given that he had 90 minutes there, and so far he's been coming on as a substitute. But I think he will get those starts in the Premier League, and the Premier League as well, and sort of take it on from there. Fairly confident he should be doing well.
On that note, I wanted to inform you actually that I'll be going and watching Cunha and Casemiro next month personally, as the Brazil
Nice.
team comes to visit Japan
Ancelotti is
on a
Brazil.
friendly. Ancelotti is Brazil, so I'll have an eye test on Richarlison, on all the Premier League stalwarts that we have, and I'll get to see Mitoma as
Perfect.
well. So yeah, that is a match I'm looking
Interesting.
forward to
This
see.
this is a game between Brazil and Japan.
Yeah, so Brazil, what they're doing is this is completely off topic, but yeah, Brazil, what they're doing is they're playing two games against Asian teams. Then they're doing
Ah,
two against Europe. Then they're doing two against South America. That's how Ancelotti has planned their friendlies.
interesting. Just by the way, on that, I was reading a small anecdote. Is Ancelotti is he's really pissing off Barcelona fans and others. He's given rest to likes of Vinny Jr. etc.
Hmm.
so that they don't have to travel all the way and they're ready for Real Madrid's next game. But he's called Rafinha. He's called Rafinha, and I think one of the games that they have is in this September window is somewhere in South America in high altitude place.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to take a lot of energy out of Rafinha, and then he has to fly back play for Barcelona. So it was a funny anecdote I read.
Cunha has been excused from the Brazil camp. He was called upon, but they have
Yeah.
had talks with Manchester United medical staff, and he's been excused for this camp.
Yeah, and I think the good thing with regard to that situation was we saw him walking back properly after the game. So he was not limping, he was not on crutches, etc. So that's a positive sign. And the so called medical experts on Twitter, if you were to go by them, they're saying it seems like a minor hamstring injury and he could probably be back in 2 3 weeks. So we might miss him in the Manchester derby and maybe a game after that, but he should be back soon, not a lot. What that brings me to is the upcoming games that we have, and it's a fairly difficult list of fixtures that we have. What do you make of United's chances in the game, especially with the derby coming against City and few difficult fixtures after that? What do you make? Do you think with with the games against City, Chelsea, Brentford, okay, Sunderland should be a relatively easier game at Old Trafford, and then Liverpool? So we have like five big Premier League games coming up next. How many points do you expect United to get from those
I'd be
games?
I'd be doing Amorim a disservice if I predicted anything from this United. This United team, if anything they have proven us, is that they are consistently inconsistent. I could very well see us nicking a win against City, dropping
Yeah.
points against Chelsea, nicking a win against Liverpool, dropping points against Sunderland. These are all possible outcomes. What Amorim needs right now are wins, which somehow the Burnley game will give him a bit of, I wouldn't say confidence, but a sigh of relief.
Breathing space. Yeah.
Breathing space. Yeah, that's what a manager needs. We have played decently this season, but we've also shown that we had that mistake in us. So
Yeah.
in these 5 games, 9 out of 15 is something I'd see. 2 losses, 3 wins. I won't tell you which
Hmm.
games will win, which games will lose, because that is like United are going to stump you this season.
That is true. That is true. And I was also trying to think a little bit match by match. And although I think I completely agree with you, predicting this United team is very difficult. But I would expect us to get those wins against Brentford and Sunderland at the least. Get 6 points from those, and then the games against City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. At least one win and a draw, which will mean that we get 10 points out of
10.
the 15. We are sitting at 14 points from 8 games, which is not that bad. I think it's a decent start given the kind of fixtures that we have, and I think that will give us impetus into the rest of the season to go on and build from there. So that's the hope. That's the hope that we have.
In the next match, when we talk next in the build up to the City match, we'll also discuss how many of what we've been doing this season is we've been predicting United's lineup and scoring against each other. I
Yeah.
don't think we have the latest scores, but I do believe Aruj is just edging like by 10 points
I
against me.
think it was the game yesterday where you predicted a little bit of you thought that Amorim should be rotating and getting Ugarte
Yeah,
Menu midfield. I think which is where I took a bit of an edge. But I think it's a close one. We will let all of you know how that is going in the preview episodes as they come along as well. Great, great. I think this has been a fun one. There should be a good break that this team should get and build on from there and prepare for the derby and upcoming games. We will catch you in the next one. Thanks for joining in. And as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.